Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 14. Before we get into it, I know this isn't how I usually start off my reviews. My little clapperboard that I start off with, it broke, so hence why I didn't start off the way I usually do. So I ordered a new one off of Amazon. You guys will be seeing that in the next few days, but please forgive me. I don't like when there are changes in my videos either. You get used to seeing me start off a certain way, and again, I'm sorry for any inconvenience, but I just had to let you all know that that's the reason why I didn't start it off as usual. It fell. I ordered a new one off of Amazon. It's supposed to be coming on Tuesday, so yeah. So RIP to my old baby, but a new one will be coming in soon, okay? Let me tell you the things that us YouTubers go through, okay? So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let me say this episode was amazing. I was glued to my seat. The hour went by, and I am going to just say it right now. LaToya, you don't ever need to come back. Season 14, you don't need to make any appearances. This needs to be a one and done season for you. You are a disgrace. Like, you are a very nasty person. Like, you are truly just rotten to your core. I was so disgusted at your behavior, but again, let me not jump ahead. Let's just jump right on into it because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off the episode with Kenya. We see that she is meeting up with Marlo, her new BFF, because you guys know that they reconciled in South Carolina, and she's also hanging out with Fallon. We find out that Marlo is opening up her own boutique where she is going to be renting out her clothes. Say what you want about Marlo, like her, hate her, indifferent, on the fence about her. Nobody can deny that she has some really nice pieces. Mama can dress, and even Kenya points out how this is more up her alley and not that wig line she was trying to do last season. And I completely agree, because when I do think of Marlo, I do think of clothes and both of our shared love for Neiman Marcus, because that is one of my favorite stores ever. But I digress. So Fallon lets them know that she is hosting a fabulous and over-the-top Halloween party, and she wants them there in her best costumes, okay? She lets them know that she is getting her costume custom made. So she's like, okay, y'all, I will see you all later, but I'm going to get fitted for my costume, but I hope to see you at my home on Halloween. They're just like, cool. Marlo lets it be known, though, that she is not going to be able to attend. She has other plans, but she will be there in spirit. And they're really sad because they wanted Marlo to attend. So Fallon leaves, and now it's just Marlo and Kenya, and they are sitting in Marlo's showroom, and they just get to talking. And Kenya brings up how she is shocked by the behavior of some of the ladies in the group. And then we see Marlo in the confessional saying that she doesn't know if Kenya is being sincere regarding them burying the hatchet and being friends again. I was like, Marlo, what do you want? I mean, you were the one who told everybody in the house in South Carolina that you wanted to be cool with Kenya again. Y'all are finally friends again. Enough. I sort of feel like she is now questioning Kenya because of what Porsha said to her, saying, well, you know how Kenya is, and I kind of feel like Kenya's very strategic in her being friends with you now. So it's just a mess. When I tell you I'm ready for the reunion, because I'm ready to see what Porsha and a few others have to say for themselves, because a lot of these ladies are really showing their behinds this season. But again, I digress. So then we see Marlo doing her due diligence as a good friend. And she lets Kenya know, your girl LaToya was at Shamia's house the other night with us, and she was telling all your business. She was telling us about the alimony, about the court case, the custody case. She was just telling it all, singing like a canary. And I was rather turned off by her, because it's like, if you would do that to your good friend, then what would you do to me? And me and you aren't even cool like that. So Kenya's just listening to what Marlo's telling her, and she's pissed. And rightfully so, because if I trust you with some confidential, personal information, I expect it to stay between you and I. You don't sit up there in front of a whole bunch of people who don't like me and spread my business. Absolutely not. You were in the wrong. LaToya is a thirsty clown. She will do anything for a moment. She wants to be on this show so bad, and she's going to do whatever she feels is going to have her get a peach. And honestly, it's not going to happen. I do not see her coming back in any capacity come season 14. I don't see it. The girl is a loser. So Kenya just says that she's really upset and hurt because she's very guarded. She doesn't let people in easily at all. So to be betrayed like this, she's really hurt. And I completely get it, because what LaToya did was not right in any stretch of the imagination. So we see Kenya ready to head out. Marlo gives her a really nice gift bag with the name of her showroom on it. And then we see them take a picture for Instagram together, and they're just joking around. And that's the scene. So the next scene, we see Drew. She's at home and she is talking to her mom, Pastor Jeanette. And she's letting her mom know that she got a call about some gigs in New Orleans, and she wants to do a girls trip to make up for the South Carolina trip. And her mom's like, oh, that sounds really good. You can also see some of her family while you're down there as well. Drew lets it be known that she would love to meet and see a lot of their family, because she doesn't really know a lot of them. She only met like a few aunts, and that's about it. So then the mom starts sharing her stories about the racism of when they would go from Chicago to Louisiana, because you guys know that Drew is from Chicago. And so she was just telling the stories about how they couldn't use the restaurants, they couldn't use the restrooms, how it was like whites only, and she's getting really emotional. And Drew goes on to say that her mom's grandfather's father was a white man, and how she wants to know more about their lineage. And then the mom starts getting a little bit tense, and Drew mentions how her mom did not know her biological dad, and Drew wants to meet her mom's biological dad, and her mom is like, absolutely not. Like, you can do that, but I know who my parents are. That's that. So then we find out that there are some similarities between her mom and her firstborn son, Josiah, who's 9 years old. We see a clip of Drew talking to Cynthia a few months back, and she's letting Cynthia know that Josiah's biological father has been reaching out because he wants to be in contact with Josiah, and Drew is really nervous. So next, we see a short scene with Candy. She is with her cousin, who's also her personal trainer, and she lets it be known that she has gained a few pounds during quarantine, and she needs to get them off because she was just offered a new role in a movie called Envy, and she needs to be ready because filming starts in like the next few months, so she needs to be on it. I was like, I know that's right. Next, we see Cynthia and her husband, honey, Mike Hill. And they're having a cute little lunch, and they're just talking, enjoying the beautiful day. And Cynthia is remarking about how Mike is glowing, and she just is really loving being married and how married life is just looking good on both of them. He's laughing. He brings up the fact that her vows to him were 9 minutes long. And he's joking about how when she kept on going and going and going, he was ready for them to play the Oscar music. You know how they do at the Oscars when an actor or an actress is talking too long after they win. They play the music to get you off the stage. He was like, baby, you kept going, but it was cute though. And so she's laughing. And then Cynthia brings up her baby daddy, Leon, his post to her on Instagram, and he's congratulating her and Mike. And I was kind of like, okay, now, like, did Leon seem like he was kind of flirting a little bit in that post? Because he was just kind of like, you a supermodel, a super mom, and congratulations to you, Miss Hill. And then he did a little wink at the end. I was like, I was like, he want that old thing back, huh? I'm joking. I'm sure it was all in good fun, but I was really cracking up at how Leon was, he had that deep voice going and he was winking in the camera. I said, I got my good eye on you, Leon. But I digress. Mike lets it be known that he really likes Atlanta. He still wants to keep his house in LA, but he wants a house that they can both call their own. Because, Cynthia's Lake Bailey is cute, but he needs something even bigger. And Cynthia's like, okay, that's fine by me. And she jokes about how she would be with Mike even if he was in a tent. I was like, girl, no, you wouldn't. I said, you did that before. You did that with Mr. Peter Thomas when his money was real funny. And you got out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. I don't think that they were even married for like 5 years. Were they? I feel like they got married in season 3 and then they were divorced by season 7 or 8. So they were only married for like 4 or 5 years. I said, girl, you would not be with Mr. Mike Hill if he were living in a tent under a bridge somewhere. Girl, stop. I said, folks just say any old thing. I said, who is she trying to fool? She said, if I become a wife again, he's going to be rich. And she certainly kept her promise, and I know that's right. That's how you do it. Okay? So we see Drew call Cynthia, and she's like, hey, Miss Hill. And Cynthia is loving every minute of it. She's like, say that louder for the people in the back, honey. This is Miss Hill. This is Miss Hill over here, okay? This ain't no Miss Bailey no more. This ain't no Miss Bailey Thomas. This is Miss Hill. So Drew lets the cat out the bag that she wants to invite Cynthia and the rest of the ladies to New Orleans with her for a real girls trip. And I said, ooh, not that shade, sis. Listen, the South Carolina trip was filled with quite a lot of mess, but you cannot deny that the bachelorette party with Bolo was lit, all right? I said, now, it wasn't all bad because I got my life. And I wasn't even there. I was just the viewer. But again, I digress. So Cynthia's like, oh, I'm down. Like, sounds good. Mike's going to be in LA for work. And I love New Orleans, so count me in. And then Drew says that Ralph has pulled some strings and got them all a private jet. And Cynthia's like, oh, like, okay. And she says she's going to show Kenya how to really host a trip. And I said, now, where did you and Ralph get the money to get a private jet? Girl. So Drew and Cynthia's call ends and Mike is like, oh, y'all gonna have a good time. It's gonna be lit. And then he says, just make sure y'all don't bring Bolo on this trip. And Cynthia is laughing. When I tell you, I could not stop cracking up. I was like, not Mike sending out a warning like, okay, that was cute, but don't do that again. So next, we are back at Drew's house, and she is in their office, and she's talking to Ralph. So Drew just lets it be known that Josiah's biological father has been contacting her because he wants to get in touch with Josiah. And she feels really anxious because she feels like Ralph is the only dad that he has ever known. So Drew gets really emotional and she's just like, I knew that this day would come, but I'm just not ready to have this conversation. Drew lets us know in the confessional that Josiah's biological father was locked up before he was born. And she took him to visit his bio dad in jail when he was 2. And then he also met his bio dad, like she said, last year. But he didn't really put 2 and 2 together. That was his biological father. And we see Drew just like break down and she's just sobbing. It was nice to see Ralph consoling Drew, letting her know that he is right by her side and he's holding her hand all the way through it. So she's just like, okay, babe, let's go in the kitchen. Let's have this talk with Josiah. So they go in the kitchen and we see Josiah with Drew's mom. Drew starts it off by saying, you know, babe, I'll order you some sushi after this conversation. And she goes into how his biological father is contacting her to get in contact with him. And Josiah is just kind of like, well, you know, no, not really. I don't really want to talk to him. And Drew is trying to get him to say, you know, yes, because she's stressing the importance of him knowing his biological father. And Drew also kept saying in her confessional that she doesn't want her son to grow up and hate her. She doesn't want Josiah to feel like she was trying to hide the bio dad. She's just so anxious about it. And it's like, Drew, you can't beat yourself up about this. You are doing the best that you can. Like, he sees that you are trying to keep the lines of communication open. So I don't think that you have to worry about Josiah growing up to hate you. He seems like such a level-headed young boy. He seems like a sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong. The relationship didn't work out. He got locked up, wasn't there. You got married to another man who has taken your son in like that's his own. You didn't do anything wrong. You shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel sad. And I just felt bad that she just felt so like torn. And it was really sweet because towards the end of the conversation, Ralph talked to Josiah and said, I do want you to have a connection with your biological father and know where you come from. And he talks about how his relationship with his father was strained and how that affected him. And it was really touching. You could see that Josiah really resonated with what Ralph was saying. And I think that was important to see because, you know, another man talking to a young boy who's going to be a man one day. And it was really touching. Like, I found myself getting a little bit teary-eyed, like, oh my gosh. And her son, again, just seems like such a sweetheart. And it was so funny when he was like completely done with the conversation. He's like, okay, like, you know, well, all right, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to him later on, but can I go play now? And it was like so cute. Like, this little baby was just so nonchalant. And Drew was like having a heart attack. Like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to tell him, you know, I hope he doesn't hate me. Again, that was a very touching scene. And I wish you and Josiah the best in this journey. So now we get to the night of Fallon's Halloween party. And Cynthia arrives first. She is dressed as hand sanitizer. Shamia shows up. She's an astronaut. Candy shows up. I don't know what Candy's costume was. I mean, it looked pretty cool, but I, for the life of me, could not tell what she was. And I didn't see Bravo put the title of what she was either. So y'all let me know down in the comments what Candy was supposed to be. So Fallon comes out and we see that she is Medusa. Fallon killed it with the costume. She looked amazing as Medusa, like top notch. But that's where it stopped and started for me because what kind of party was this? Fallon tells them to help themselves with the food, and I swear to you, I only saw about 3 bowls of finger foods. It was something that you would serve at a little gathering of like 3 people. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, Candy and Cynthia were even kind of like, girl, this is all you have to eat? Fallon, do you know what a party is? Because to be so rich, this party gave me limited budget, or you've never hosted parties before. How do you have your entryway all done up? It's all dark and scary like a haunted house, but then they're in this bright kitchen for the party. On top of that, it was only them. No other people were invited. You didn't even have a DJ. You didn't have a bartender. Where was the catered food? I mean, you should have had a spread. There should have been charcuterie trays. There should have been a whole bunch of hors d'oeuvres. There should have been hot foods, cold foods. I mean, for you to have so much money, that party was very sparse. If there's one thing I know how to do very well, I mean, I could do it with my eyes closed. I know how to entertain when I have guests. I'm very good at that. Let me tell you something. My guests are not leaving hungry. There's music, there's a DJ. I mean, it's a whole big production. I mean, you really dropped the ball. And this is no shade, but we have to call a spade a spade. This was no party. We see Kenya arrive and Drew points out how offensive Kenya's costume is. So let me tell you something. Things just got weird from here on out. They all sit down at the table and Kenya relays the message about Marlo not attending. And the ladies are kind of finding it weird, like, since when is Kenya Marlo's keeper? Like, why is she relaying this information about Marlo not attending? Like, this is weird. Shamia starts making jokes about how Kenya needs to give us a temperature check on her, and so they're all just laughing. LaToya arrives, and LaToya is a dead mermaid. I thought her costume was pretty cool. She sits down, and immediately, this is where things just go left. LaToya goes on to shade Fallon, and she says, girl, your house is nice. This is how you do it when you get with a 65-year-old. And everybody's kind of like, Lord have mercy. Fallon is kind of looking at her like, girl, and she's being classy and not saying anything. So LaToya goes on to say that she would like a drink. And Fallon's like, okay, girl, you know, the drink's right there. Get it yourself. And LaToya's like, I don't want to serve myself. Like, girl, where's the help? Like, where's your maid? Like, somebody should be serving me. And everybody's kind of like, girl, enough already. Fallon was better than me because Fallon actually got up to make LaToya a drink. And I was like, no way would I have made you a drink. But I said, Fallon's just trying to kill her with kindness. I liked that Fallon did shade her by saying, rich people don't talk like that, only broke people do. And I said, anybody who grew up with a little bit of something knows that you either say housekeeper or staff. To say, where's the help, where's the maid, that's in very poor taste. It's actually quite nouveau riche of you, LaToya. Folks who just came into something, aren't used to anything, speak like that. That's very rude of you to say that somebody is a maid or the help. So I said, you know, Fallon, you better get her together. But I said, Fallon, I'm gonna need you to get it together because this party is whack and you have too much money to be throwing these sorry affairs like this. But again, I digress. So Fallon gives LaToya her drink, and LaToya then starts talking about her and Drew's love-hate relationship and how she actually rode home with Drew the other night after that niece's party. And Drew says, yeah, girl, I mean, we don't really see eye to eye, but she had one too many drinks and I had to drive her for the night. So I offered her to get in the car with me to take her home. I think that she is somebody who has very low tolerance when it comes to indulging in alcohol, and she gets sloppy and she gets stupid. And she needs to really watch herself for real. I'm not going to say she has a problem, but I will say that she needs to tone it down and keep it to 2 drinks maximum because she can't hold her liquor. So we see the ladies get up. Drew proposes a toast to their New Orleans trip. They're all cheering. They're all excited. And then Candy also says, I want to add my good news. I got a role in a new movie. And they cheers to her and they're just super excited. So while they're drinking, Kenya says, LaToya, can I talk to you for a second? Let's go over just the 2 of us so that we can talk and iron some things out. So they go over to a section of Fallon's house and Kenya is like, LaToya, I heard that you were spreading my business around in front of Porsha and Drew and Marlo the other night. Like, what was that about? Like, you know that those girls don't like me, so why would you do that? Like, I trusted you. And for you to betray my trust, like, that's not cool. LaToya starts talking real stupid. And she gets to raising her voice. And Kenya's like, LaToya, please don't raise your voice at me. Like, do not yell at me. Like, that's unacceptable. So LaToya's like, you know what? I'm done with this conversation. And then we see Porsha. And Porsha has arrived to the party. And even she's like, well, damn, like the mini haunted house in the entryway was cute. But I mean, like, where the party at? Like, where the other people? You know, where is the entertainment? Like, what's going on? It's kind of whack. And she makes a joke about how she's happy that she got her costume from Party City because she wasn't about to go all out for this awful little lame affair. And we see that Porsha has on little cat ears and that's about it. She didn't even try. And even Candy and them are kind of like, really, Porsha? Like, you couldn't have done better with your costume. And I was kind of like, you know what? Her costume was really lame, but I mean, I wouldn't have gone all out for this. So now we are back on over to Kenya and LaToya, and things are getting heated, okay? LaToya goes on to say that she was defending Kenya, and Kenya's like, defending me from what? Like, I'm just not understanding how my business got brought up when you were out with them. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's not adding up. So now LaToya just keeps talking more stupidness. I mean, when I tell you LaToya was making no sense whatsoever, I was like, this girl is stupid. Like, this girl is really trying to pull a fast one over on somebody. Now LaToya starts laughing and she's like, you know what? I can't take you seriously with that costume on. And Kenya is aggravated. She's like, you know what, girl? I got nothing for you. Like, let's just go. Like, I'm just done with this conversation. Like, just get out of my face. Kenya and LaToya are going back up to where the rest of the ladies are. We see the other ladies talking about LaToya. And Fallon is like, yeah, she's dressed as a broke-ass mermaid. And they're all laughing. And Fallon brings up to Porsha about how LaToya was trying to shade her earlier before she got there. She was just saying, yeah, you know, she was saying that my husband was 65. And I'm like, girl, get it right. He's only 55. And so Porscha's like, oh no, like, you know, you don't sit up there and try to shade somebody's husband. And even Cynthia says in her confessional, like, look, if somebody came to my house and tried to shade me and my man, oh, they'd be under the lake. Like, that is unacceptable. That's a no-no. And all the ladies have a general consensus that LaToya is out of control and she's always flapping her gums, like always saying something stupid. Kenya and LaToya finally arrive back. The other ladies are trying to pry to see what they were talking about. So LaToya decides that she wants to leave. She's ready to go. And they're all kind of like, well, okay, like that's kind of abrupt. And she's asking if somebody can walk her out to the door. And so she's like, Porsha, you want to walk me out? Porscha's like, okay, cool. Then she says, Kenya, you want to walk me out? And Kenya's like, girl, Porsha already told you she was going to walk you out, so go with Porsha. Like, I'm just done. So Porsha walks her out, and she tells Porsha that she wants to understand what the problem with Kenya and her is. And Porscha's kind of like, girl, like, why are we talking about this? Like, why am I in this? Like, what is going on? LaToya brings up to Porsha how Kenya found out that she was spreading her business at the niece's party. And so Porsha was like, well, yeah, you know, we all knew that was going to get out. We all know she would be pissed. Like, of course, like, this isn't even news. LaToya keeps pressing Porsha on why Porsha and Kenya are not cool. And then she goes on to explain why she started telling Kenya's business. Porsha's confused, like, girl, what is even coming out of your mouth right now? Like, are you okay? Like, is everything, like, all there? Like, what is this girl's deal? Porsha lets her know off rip, like, sis, the way you're carrying on right now is about to affect us being cool. Like, you're just doing way too much. Then we cut back on over to the kitchen and we see Kenya is like, I'm ready to leave too. She goes on to ask if Fallon can walk her out the door. So this is where all hell just completely broke loose. It's now Porsha and LaToya on the steps. Fallon, Cynthia, and Kenya are now outside as well. LaToya gets up to go to her car because she wants to go because she feels that the energy is off. Fallon says to LaToya, well, the energy is off because you insulted my husband. And Fallon goes on to tell the rest of the ladies that she is 31 years old. She and her husband have built up this legacy, this empire together. She's very proud of herself. She had 3 kids before her husband. And we hear LaToya saying some really nasty things in her car. She starts saying to Fallon, 3 kids that you have by 3 different baby daddies. And you did not build anything with your husband. You just put it in your mouth and that's how you got what you got. Like saying the most hateful things. I was like, oh my gosh, LaToya is out of control. So you see Fallon trying to run up on LaToya. She is pissed. We see the producers trying to get Fallon. They're bringing her back inside. All the other ladies in the kitchen, Candy, Shamia, Drew, they're all like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on right now? This is crazy. Child, you then see Fallon run back in her house. She's running to get some golf clubs because she's about to go ham on LaToya. I think Fallon wanted to smash all the windows of LaToya's car. Like, she was pissed. Everybody's like, this is absolute madness. Like, what the F? We end the episode with Fallon being escorted upstairs in her own house, all the ladies leaving and acknowledging that this was a crazy night. We see Drew saying that LaToya is out of line, and she is. LaToya, you were completely out of order. I think that you are a hateful woman. I think that you have this weird jealousy because you want Fallon's life. I think that it really pains you to see this woman a little bit younger than you is living the life that you could only dream of. She has a private jet, or she had a private jet at her disposal, because y'all are saying that her and her man are now broken up, but I digress. But I think that you want Fallon's life. You want to be her. This woman has done nothing but be gracious, been sweet to you. And every single time you've seen her, all you've been doing has been making shots at the age difference between her and her husband. Like, you are so hateful. And I have said this before in a prior recap. I think that jealousy is such a lazy emotion. To be jealous of somebody else's life, you don't know what they have endured to get where they've gotten. You don't, like, I just find it to be such a lazy emotion, because you're pretty much saying that I could never have or experience what that person is experiencing. And it's like, if you focus on yourself and develop your gifts and talents and become the best version of you, you open yourself up to the promises and the gifts and the blessings that God has for you. LaToya, you are too worried about what Fallon has got going on. You need to worry about yourself, worry about your YouTube channel. You need some serious help. You really do. And I saw that video that leaked of you where you're being really nasty and being colorist towards your former dark-skinned friend, talking about her lips are too big and this and that. Like, you just sounded so anti-black and just so evil and nasty in that video. I was so disgusted. I don't like you. I don't want to see you on my screen anymore. You're a sorry individual and you're just desperate. You're a desperate wannabe. You're never going to be a real housewife of Atlanta, so hang it up. Flat screen. Please. Like, I'm just so sick of you. I was so done. I said she really needs some help. She's out of line and she's out of order. But again, y'all, this recap was long enough. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode down in the comments. I can't wait to see what y'all all had to say. This was a really good episode. Looking forward to next week's episode, and y'all already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.